We need to make sure that they know that we're not going to give up. And we're not going to play dead, right? Every single vote in this election cycle has been counted and recounted. Justice Allison Riggs has won her seat rightfully on the North Carolina State Supreme Court by 734 votes, everybody. A little less than probably what's sitting out here in front of me right now, right? In so many ways. And I'm grateful because each and every one of you are here today to say that those deserve to be respected, they deserve to be counted, and they deserve to be left alone. It's my honor to bring up one of the voters that's been challenged in this election cycle to tell you her story, to talk about how she feels after this election and how she is going to take on and make sure that her voice is not discounted in this election cycle. Y'all give a big round of applause for Christy Caldwell, everybody.
Good afternoon. Please forgive me, I'm a little nervous. My name is Christy Clausell, and I've been a Wake County resident for 16 years and a registered unaffiliated voter since 2012. I received a notice in the mail that looked a lot like junk mail stating that my vote was being protested. Oddly, it was blank on one side and addressed to Christy Clausell or current resident on the other, which made it appear unimportant. I'm sure most people would have thrown it away thinking it was just a random advertisement. I've never been targeted in any dirty political scheme, but this feels very much like that. These actions lack honesty and integrity, as I have voted in nearly every election since 2012 without issue. Protesting valid votes of 60,000 people, including myself, is infuriating and displays the selfish motives driven by someone who is supposed to care about the people they serve. This is not caring about the people they serve. This is saying that we are disposable and don't matter. I definitely don't want anyone representing me on our state's highest court who exercises blatantly dishonorable tactics to get what they want versus serving the people who vote for them. Attempting to invalidate voters who stood in long lines to exercise their right to vote as a U.S. citizen is at best self-serving. Attempting to suppress people's voices for personal gain is nothing short of dishonest and dirty politics. It is shameful, and anyone associated with this type of behavior is not someone I ever vote for. The Republican candidate's actions of attempting to strip me of my voice as an unaffiliated voter is violating and lacks morality. I voted for whom I felt the best candidate was, Justice Allison Riggs. This dirty political trick speaks to the lack of decency of Jefferson Griffin, proving to me that I made the right choice. In closing, I implore each and every person here today and in North Carolina, along with 60,000 of us whose vote is being protested, to remember the name Jefferson Griffin. Remember the name and remember the names of anyone who was associated with and agreement with these deplorable actions, because there will be future elections. We can clearly see who will listen and respect the voice of the voter. We see who truly represents who we are and what we stand for. So lastly, this is just something I really feel like needs to be mentioned. When I got this notice, I reached out to each party listed, the Republican Party as well as the Democratic Party. I sent an email to both. I left a voicemail for both. To date, I have not heard anything, no response from the Republican Party. As I said, I'm an unaffiliated voter, so I wanted answers, I wanted understanding. The Democratic Party reached out to me a minimum of 7 times. So this tells you, those actions tell you who cares or who doesn't, or who thinks your voice matters or who doesn't. Thank you. Give Christy one more round of applause, everybody. She looked at me beforehand. She said, I'm nervous. I said, you got no reason to be. Not with this crowd, folks. Not with this one, right?
Next up, we have a phenomenal speaker that just got elected to be our next leader of the North Carolina Senate, everybody. Senator Sidney Batch, folks!
Good afternoon, everyone. It is so great to see you. You clearly care about democracy because we're all freezing together. Your presence here speaks volumes about the dedication to our democracy, and together we're sending a clear message. North Carolinians will not stand by while our rights are under attack. Today, we stand together not just as Democrats and, as we've seen, unaffiliated voters and North Carolinians who believe first in the power of the people, not in the power of those who think they can manipulate the rules to desperately maintain control. The story of North Carolina is a story of resilience. We've weathered all types of storms. Just look to our neighbors out west after Hurricane Helene and how they came together in unimaginable times to take care of one another. We have faced countless challenges, and each time we emerged stronger. Today, we're called to do it again, to defend democracy from those who seek to undermine it for their own gain. Let's be clear, democracy has never been free, not for people of color and not for women. Recently, I was reminded of that when I took my 11 and 13-year-old sons to the National Archives to look at the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. And while reading them, we discussed the arduous, long, and often dangerous journey that people of color and women had to endure to earn their inalienable rights that were only given to white men during the formation of this country. And we discussed my favorite line in the Constitution. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Because democracy isn't just a principle, it's a promise to form a more perfect union where you can love who you want to love, where you can work one job to provide for yourself and your family, and where we know that when we vote, every single one of our votes matters and is counted. Democracy is a guarantee that the voices of the people, not backroom deals of politicians, determine the future of our state. Yet here we are again, time and time again, confronted by a Republican leadership, hell-bent on bending the rules, rewriting the game, and silencing voters to maintain their grip on power. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. Their actions reek of fear, and they should be terrified, because just this last November, more North Carolinians voted for Democrats at the statewide level and in legislative races. They're afraid because you demand fairness and accountability. They're afraid of communities like ours, and they're afraid of the progress that we're making together despite their political gerrymandering and their schemes. Because no matter how much they rig the system, no matter how much power grabs they make to attempt to keep their control, the people of North Carolina are not going to back down and just let them take it. Republicans want us discouraged, isolated, and silent, because dividing us fuels their agenda. And after all, that's all they have. But we cannot let their fear dictate our future.
That's right.
The great Shirley Chisholm, and one of my heroes, said, "You don't make progress by standing on the sidelines, whimpering and complaining. You make progress by implementing ideas." As Democrats, we're not just standing up to their assaults on democracy. We're building a movement rooted in justice, integrity, and action. We're fighting for fair elections, equal representation, and the principle that every vote counts. And in this fight, unity is actually our greatest strength. When we organize, mobilize, and demand accountability, we expose the cracks of their flawed foundation. And when we show up and show out at town halls, in the voting booth, and in the street, we remind them that our democracy belongs to the people. Our work is far from over. We know all too well that North Carolina's challenges are steep, with underfunded schools, skyrocketing healthcare costs, and an economy that works for the few at the expense of the many. These are battles worth fighting because it cuts to the very core of who we are as people and what we want to be as a state. And that's why I'm calling on all of you today, not just to celebrate our victories, but to organize for what's next. We have to sustain this energy, not just for today or next month, but for the years-long journey and battle ahead. Because democracy is not a sprint, it is a marathon. It's showing up day after day to knock on doors, to make those phone calls, and to even talk to those neighbors that don't always agree with you. Because what I have learned as a social worker and a lawyer throughout my career is that oftentimes when we listen to each other, it's really hard to hate up close. And when we actually listen, we're more likely to build bridges than walls. So let's stay strong, let's support one another, and let's make sure that every North Carolinian knows that we will not back down and we will not let them take what's ours. This is our state, this is our democracy, and together we will defend it.
Another round for Senator Cindy Batch, everybody! We will defend our democracies, and part of what's going to help us do that this year is the fact that we broke a Republican supermajority in our state house, everybody! And to tell us a little bit about the fight that we still have left ahead, y'all give it up for Representative Zach Hawkins, everybody. Come on now!
Hey, how y'all doing? It feels good out here. It feels good out here because we are in the presence of Democrats. Democrats who care about North Carolina. And part of what I want to do is I want to take North Carolina back. Because Julie Von Hafen will tell you, time's up for those Republicans that are in the majority in that building. So every time you hear me say, that I say take back North Carolina, I want you to say, time. They at least use it when it's convenient for them. But one of the things on this Sunday that I will tell you is that when we have people in need, what do? You clothe them, you feed them, you make sure that kids in public schools have free lunch like they do in Durham County. We want to make sure that kids around this state have a sound, basic public education. That seems like the right thing to do. That seems like the right thing to do. Clean water, clean air. These are people that don't believe in moving North Carolina forward. As Sydney just mentioned, they'd rather give tax cuts that will take North Carolina, tax cuts and public school vouchers, that will put us in a hole of $8 billion over the next decade. And in that way, what can they do, Julie? They can what? Cut public education even more. They can cut mental health services even more. They can make sure that they don't have the resources to provide for the greater good of the people of the great state of North Carolina. Sydney, sometimes I still wish you were in the House with us. I do. I appreciate what you're doing in the Senate, but we're gonna do this together because breaking the supermajority was one of the things, it was a bright spot. So many people, that's right, come on! Are you with me? Are you with me? So many people across the South had their heads hung low. But in the Tar Heel State, I said, we just elected Josh Stein, governor of the great state of North Carolina. Jeff Jackson, Mo Green to lead public education. And we are going to win Allison's rigged seat for state Supreme Court. Allison is the real deal. She's the real deal and she deserves that seat. And we're going to do everything we can to keep her there. But when everybody talked about the movement, I said, guys, breaking the supermajority is the right step. And that started when we elected Governor, Roy Cooper governor in 2016. When a couple of rock stars, yourself included, in 2018 helped to break the supermajority the first time. And in 2024, we see where we are. And so we have to be laser focused because we can win the state house back by 2028. But we just need everybody across the state to focus, to make sure that you understand what is at stake. And what I have done with me, where's Brian? I brought somebody who can tell you what it takes. He went to Vance County and Granville County, he served locally, and he said, you know what? I don't like the fact that I have a Republican representing a Democratic district. He said, I'm gonna do something about it. He stepped up to run, and now we have broken the supermajority. We're gonna keep his seat. We're gonna keep Beth's seat out in Mecklenburg County. We're gonna keep a couple others, and we're gonna win up and down the ballot in 26 and 2028. But we have to understand that it's about making sure that you stand with us in the General Assembly as they try to strip voting rights away from every single North Carolinian. As they try to tell lies about what we're doing in the Eastern North Carolina and Western North Carolina with recovery. When let me tell you something, if you don't know anything about power, the person who has the power, the person who has the money makes the decision. And so everything that you have seen go wrong over the last 10 years lands solely at the feet of the Republican Party. They are not like us. They are not like us. And they don't deserve what they have. And we are going to take it back. Isn't that right? All right. So before I hold it, I give it to Brian. When I say take back North Carolina, you say it's time up. Because it is time up for the BS that we have been dealing with in this state for far too long. And I'm so glad that I have Democrats across the state who are willing and ready to fight for it. So I want to pass it on to my friend and newly elected representative, Brian Cone, to tell you about what he's been up to and what he's going to do for our state. Thank you.
North Carolina Democrats, how are we? Yes, right. Let me tell you something. 13 months ago, I made a decision to run for the North Carolina House of Representatives. I was currently an elected official in Oxford, North Carolina, in Granville County, about 50 miles north of here, but the last stop before you hit the Virginia border. Our district, our counties of Granville and Vance are rural North Carolina. 1 foot set in eastern North Carolina, 1 foot set in the triangle. But if you go to these rural counties, we are left behind. Every dollar that's taken out of our public schools is the equivalent of 10 taken out of our schools up in Vance and Granville County. Our children suffer because of decisions made in that building by the Republican supermajority. Time is up. As a local elected official, my board members and my mayor and I could not make the decisions we needed to make because the supermajority stripped the power from the local government. We were a creature of the state. If we wanted to do things to better the lives of our citizens, we had to come hat in hand and beg. But still, we made it work. But the time came 13 months ago to stand up and say enough is enough. We need to have better representation in that building right over there. And we fought like hell for 13 straight months. Kicking and screaming and knocking doors, everything we had to do. And I would be remiss if I did not point out my two party chairs, Liz Purvis and the wonderful Angela Thornton, who made it possible for us to take back what was rightfully ours. In about 3 days, it'll be time to pack a lunch and go to work. Because the real work begins now. You guys went out and knocked doors, got folks out to vote, and now the time has come for us to go to work and make something happen. The people of rural North Carolina deserve it. Their voices deserve to be heard. Their votes deserve to be counted, and I promise you we will do that. We will fight every single day for every single one of you to make sure that you have that right to vote, that you have the right to choose, that you have the right to live a happy and healthy life, and to be left the hell alone by the Republicans. With that, I want to thank you guys. Thank you for coming out in the cold, and I look forward to serving you for many, many years to come. Thank you.
Representative Zach Hawkins and newly Representative-elect Brian Kahn, everybody! We have also got in the House with us here because our state legislature, y'all, some of our state legislators have been through it in a supermajority. So a very big shout out. Julie Von Haven is in the crowd here somewhere, folks. Our state representative right there in Wayne County. And you've also got Marsha Moore right there in the crowd out of Dallas County too, everybody. Thank you to all of our folks that have done tremendous work battling it out in our legislature over the last year or two. We deeply appreciate all that y'all have done. Switching over a little bit, because we've talked a lot about our state legislature, but we also are prioritizing 2025 as a year for municipal elections, in case any of y'all have forgotten. And this rally isn't a presentation of saying new year, but no years off for this party ever. And so I'd love to be able to call up now, and the honor to call up now, Commissioner Nita Alam, everyone out of Durham County, folks.
Good afternoon, North Carolina Democrats. Are you fired up? Are you ready to fight for our future? Are you ready to remind Republicans that their dirty tricks and attacks on democracy don't stand a chance against the power of the people? Because let me tell you, they are scared. They've seen what happens when Democrats organize, when Democrats rise, and when Democrats win. And they'll do anything, gerrymander maps, suppress votes, spread lies to keep us down. But what they don't understand is this. We are North Carolina Democrats. We don't back down. We fight back. And when we fight, we win. And the fight begins at the local level because local elections matter. And let me tell you why. Local elections aren't just about today. They're about tomorrow. They're about building a pipeline of leaders who will rise through the ranks and carry our progressive values to every level of government. We cannot throw our hands up in defeat every time Republicans play their dirty games in the legislature. We need Democrats at every level of office because every position matters, from school boards to city council, county commission, all the way up to federal office. And the stronger our local leaders are, the stronger our communities are, and the stronger our entire party is. As a county commissioner, I've seen firsthand what progressive leadership can achieve. You know, I championed a guaranteed income pilot program to give families the support they need to thrive. Secured and increased investment in public schools because every child deserves a quality education regardless of zip code. And led the way on tax relief assistance programs for long-term low-income residents to protect those who built our communities from being priced out of their homes. And this is what happens when Democrats lead at the local level. We invest in people, not corporations. We build community, not divide. But here's the thing. The fight is far from over, and the Republicans will only win when we don't show up. In 2024, we showed them what happens when we do show up. Leaders like Antoinetta Cash Royster didn't just flip a county commission seat by 42 votes in Person County, the first Democrat elected to the board in 10 years, and the first Black woman ever to serve on the Person County Board of Commissioners. She proved that progress is possible when Democrats fight for every vote. And we need you to step up. If you care about our schools, raise your hand. And keep them up if you care about our neighborhoods and democracy. So it's time to act, because there's the truth. Every year is an election year. So who's ready to vote every year? Who's ready to support local leaders? Who's ready to run for local office and win? When we show up for every election, every school board, every city council, every county commission, we build a bench that will lead North Carolina forward. And when we invest in our local leaders, we ensure that they are as strong and unstoppable as possible. This is how we win. This is how we rise, and this is how we protect our democracy from the Republican extremists who want to tear it down. So North Carolina Democrats, let's get to work, let's organize, let's rise, and let's show Republicans what happens when Democrats fight for every vote.
Thank you.
We say Democrats a lot in this household. We mean Dems and friends. I know ain't all y'all out there probably registered that way. It's okay. I'm coming to get you. Don't worry about it. We're fighting for it. We're coming. But not when we say it. It's an inclusive term. It means all y'all out there in my crowd. Okay. Next up, everybody, to talk to you all a little bit. We've got folks in this house. I know we got folks that came from Pender County. I know both of them brought a bus. I know Forsyth County came out in fall. I know we got Chatham County out there. I know we got everybody out there. Warren County in the house too. Onslow. I could keep on going. We might have all 100 counties out here in this crowd. I don't know. We're going to find out. But what we're really honored to have here with us today is Mayor Waylon White out here from Ahoskie in eastern North Carolina. Everybody. Y'all give him a big round of applause, folks.
Very much so.
North Carolina Democrats, good afternoon. So it's my esteemed pleasure to be in front of you all the way from Ahoskie, North Carolina, representing my hometown as the mayor. And we pride ourselves on being the only one. Local government and local elections might not always grab national headlines, but it's where real change lives. Our work touches our streets, it touches our environment, it touches our people. It's where the policies that shape our daily lives are crafted. It's about building strong communities, block by block, school by school, and heart by heart. Electing Democrats at the local level is essential for many reasons. First and foremost, Democrats, we believe in a few things like equity and inclusion. Right? We believe in a government that truly represents its people and reflects the rich fabric of our community. This means ensuring that all voices are heard from every inch of our neighborhoods. This means also that we care about the policies that are made from input from every single corner of our diverse neighborhoods, from healthcare to education, and from infrastructure to social justice. Democrats work to ensure that everyone has a fair shot at a happy, healthy, and successful life. Democrats understand the importance of investing in our children's future. Education is a top priority, and we know that. We know that a great school is the foundation of a stronger community. And by electing Democrats locally, we support initiatives that invest in our educators, modernize our classrooms, and invest in a stronger community. We also recognize the urgency of protecting our environment. North Carolina's breathtaking natural beauty from the mountains to the coast. You got anybody from the coast out here? Okay. This is one of our most cherished assets here in North Carolina, and Democrats understand the importance of the sustainable practices and renewable energy solutions. By voting Democrats, we choose leaders who prioritize clean air, clean water, and the preservation of our precious ecosystem for generations to come. Moreover, Democrats at the local level, we strive for economic prosperity that lifts everyone. This means supporting small businesses, which are the backbone of our community, fostering innovation, and building local economies that benefit workers, families, and entrepreneurs alike. We emphasize fair wages and workers' rights, ensuring that economic growth translates into shared prosperity, just not concentrated wealth. And let us not forget the pivotal role of local governments in safeguarding our democracy. By electing Democrats, we ensure fair and free elections, protecting voting rights and upholding the principles of accountability and transparency. The decisions that we make at the ballot box echo through our schools, our environments, and our community. By electing Democrats at the local level, we are choosing leaders who believe in building bridges, not walls. Pun intended.
Oh, so much
And
better.
uphold the principles of accountability and transparency. Leaders committed to justice, equity, and opportunities for all. So let us come together to invest in a future that reflects our values, a future that is inclusive, prosperous, and sustainable. Let us build a better North Carolina one vote at a time. Thank you for your commitment and for your efforts to make this vision a reality. Together, we can shape a brighter future for all. Thank you for
Give it up one more time for Eastern North Carolina, everybody. Next up, we've got the woman of the hour, everybody. And you all know why we're here today in so many ways, right? Because Justice Allison Riggs deserves to keep her seat on that bench, right? So let's call her up here now, everybody. Y'all give a big round of applause to Justice Allison Riggs, everybody.
I didn't know about these signs, but it should say, "We won!" We won, North Carolina Democrats! I am Justice Allison Riggs, and I am so honored to be here with you today. And guess what, North Carolina Democrats and democracy advocates? I am standing here today because of you. I am here to thank you for what you did this past November, 2 months ago today. You changed the course of this state. The way that people will enjoy their rights down the road are because of the work you did this cycle. Because of you, I'll keep my seat for 8 years. We are well on our way to reclaiming our courts for justice. Y'all, I was a voting rights attorney before I joined the bench. I think all of you know that about me. And I want you to know that I see the work you did. You not just got out to vote. You not just turned out your neighbors to vote. You not just built infrastructure in your county parties. You made sure that every voter knew how to cast an absentee ballot and get it counted. You made sure that every voter knew about their right to cast a provisional ballot and make sure it got counted. And guess what? After we counted every vote, I was ahead by 734 votes. Those are the absentee votes you fought for. The provisional votes that you fought for and cured. When this is all done, the data are gonna show us that this margin of victory, 734, was the work that you did to make sure that every vote counts. And I want you today to take this moment and celebrate each other. And I also want you to not forget the work that we still have in front of us. We spent 2 years telling our grassroots leaders, telling the media, and telling voters that our state Supreme Courts are more important than ever. State Supreme Courts are where our democracy gets defended. It's where our reproductive freedoms get protected. It's where our right to a sound basic public education gets protected. And we told you, look, judicial elections can't be an afterthought. They can't be just something that we vote for if we decide to stick it through down the ballot. We said this needs to be important. And when we said that, do you know who listened? Anderson and Jonah and Dr. Hardy and Elijah and Keon and Becca and you. We asked you to focus
In 2020 and 2022, we lost every race for a statewide judicial election. And we knew we had to stop that. We had to stop it. It turns out, in the face of an incredible red wave. But when we asked you for your help, you not only listened, you moved mountains to withstand that wave. North Carolina did something incredibly special last year, but you understood the assignment and you delivered for the people that needed you. Now look, we haven't gotten it all figured out. I am standing here today because Judge Carolyn Thompson, Martin Moore, and Ed Eldridge stood with me and did the work it took to convince as many North Carolinians as we did that our courts matter. So I want to thank them for their service. And we are not done. We have judicial elections in 2026. We have to win back our court in 2028. We have more work to do. We haven't figured everything out yet, but what I promise you is that you will see me, you will see your party talking about why our courts matter, and we will not be silenced. We have been fighting for the last 2 months to make sure that your will was respected. It is 2 months from Election Day, and I still don't have my certificate of election. But we will get that certificate. We will prove that we won this election. We won this election! Just like we've spent the last year talking about what matters, our values, how much we prize democracy, how much we value every vote. Just like we spent the last 2 years talking about accountability. You deserve judges who are accountable to you, the people, because all the power comes from you. And we will not stop until we have put this election fully to bed. We will not stop when people attack our rights. We will elect and demand accountability and make sure that our government is led by people who value our right to vote. North Carolina, thank you so much for trusting me in this role. I promise to fight tirelessly for you to win back our courts and to make this a North Carolina that we can all be proud of. Yes. Because of you, we won!
That's our Supreme Court Justice, everybody! And as Justice Riggs talked about, it is the long game that we are playing in North Carolina. And I know that because all of you have stayed out here in the cold with us today, you're ready to do it with us, all right? It's my honor to be able to introduce the woman that we are all going to fight for hard over the next year and 2 years as she takes on a tough challenge to maintain her seat on the North Carolina Supreme Court. Justice Anita Earls, everybody!
My name is Anita Earls, and for the past 6 years, I have fought for your rights and freedoms as an Associate Justice on the North Carolina Supreme Court. I was part of the majority in 2022 that said that extreme partisan gerrymandering violates our state constitution. That decision was overturned in 2023. I was part of the majority that in 2022 said that a voter ID requirement that was passed explicitly to discriminate against black voters is against the state constitution. That decision was overturned in 2023. I was part of the majority of the Supreme Court that said our state constitution guarantees a sound basic education and the state must adequately fund sound basic education.
That was awesome.
The new court has put that on hold. And so I say to you, if you agree with my values, I am going to need your help. And I want to thank all of you who worked so hard in 2018 to allow me to have this role. And let's remember that in 2016, we did elect Governor Cooper. At the national level, the state went for a Republican. But in 2028, we turned that around. All of our statewide offices went to Democrat. So let's repeat that pattern. In 2026, we can turn it around. And so I have a very specific ask. My campaign is underway, and for your help, what I'm asking you to do today is to email my campaign, earls4justice@gmail.com. Give me your contact information so I can communicate with you. Let me know if there are networks of people that you think I can appear before and talk about our courts, people who I can hear from, who what matters to them about our judiciary, so that I can begin to get the message out across the state for the next 2 years about why our courts matter and why our votes matter, why our education matters, why our economic rights matter, why a court under the state constitution has the duty and the responsibility to protect your rights and uphold your freedoms. That's what I stand for. If you stand with me, we can do it.
The two women that you just heard speak have been on a bench right now where they sit at a 5-2 minority. Justice Anita Earls sits as the only black woman on our Supreme Court in North Carolina right now. She is someone that speaks for the majority of this state, even though she's in the minority. Justice Allison Riggs also speaks for the majority, even though she may be in the minority. And we need each one of you to help join that fight this year, to speak with them, to talk for them, and help educate the communities across this state about the importance of staying active year-round. Republicans did this. They challenged this election over a holiday season for a reason. They gave us and passed Senate Bill 382 in the middle of the night for a reason. Because they believe that people across this state will not pay attention, will not hold them accountable, that they will forget what they've done. We're not forgetting. And we refuse to let the people of North Carolina forget either, right? So our job over the next year is to dig in harder than we even have throughout 2024, because I'm going to tell y'all what, no one is coming to save us. It has got to be ourselves. I know that right now we saw a hard federal election and that people feel discouraged. We feel alone and we feel like no one is coming to help us. Look around you right now. This is your help. This is your army. This is our community. These are the people that are going to dig in with you. And I don't know about y'all, but I'd whole hell lot rather be out here with you all than inside that building right now, right? So let's do this, North Carolina, this year. Let's dig into our backyards. Let's show up at our city councils, our county commission meetings. Let's demand more from our elected officials. Let's show up at this General Assembly. Dorian Palmer is going to help pack our galleries this year because they're not going to not get to see our faces, your faces. If they're going to disrespect democracy, then they're going to have to look democracy in the face while they do it, right? And let me tell you what, there's a reason why we're sitting right now in front of the Department of Public Instruction, everybody. because North Carolina rejects extremism every single time, and Republicans have taken it too far in our state. Mo Green is going into that building this year, everybody. And he's going to be able to be an advocate for the public educators that are here today, for the people that deserve better right now out of our legislature and out of our public schools. And so thank you all for the fight that you're about to give with us, because it's going to be a long one, and I'm not going to lie to anybody about that. But I hope you know we have the energy, we have the audacity, and we have the heart to keep it going. And we've got some phenomenal candidates to be able to do it with us, everybody. And I need you all to step up this year and help us find more of them. Because there are people all over North Carolina that will do good, that will be good public servants for our state, not politicians, right? So thank you all for being here, and thank you for giving your time. My last thing to you is, when we fight, we win! When we fight, we win! When we fight, we win! Let's win, North Carolina, let's win. All right, everybody, thank you, thank you.
No, take it.
Have fun.
Gosh, that's quite a pleasure.
Thanks for watching.